Hello, and thank you for calling the Lessons in Wisdom call. My name is Issachar Bey. I am the Senior Director of the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. And I want to thank you for tuning in on this call tonight. We're in a new month, new dimension, new consciousness, new results. We're in a place now of new beginnings. And I want to thank you for being a part of this call tonight. I know you guys, there's many other places that you could have been or that you could have been connected to or any other things that you could have been doing, but taking the time to come into this call tonight, it is my intention that you receive some word, something that is said, some precept, some concept, some golden nugget that you will receive tonight that will begin to transform your life from where you are to a new dimension and a new level in itself. And in the divine mind. And so as we get ready to orchestrate this shift tonight, I want to thank you for allowing yourself to be in the midst of like-minded people, being in the midst of people who are on the rise of getting to greater levels of consciousness, who are in the motion of creating their own reality, who are not afraid to create their life and begin to change the dynamics of their life to become what it is that we want to be, do, and to have, and to live in our purpose and our destiny, and so it is. And so I'm excited tonight that you guys are a part of this call tonight. I was looking at the month of June, and, I was looking at some of the things that are going on and what we need to be aware of. As of right now, it's always been said, as above, so below. And so those of you that know me know that I am one that always looks into the heavens to see what the heavens will declare. And we're in a good place right now. Even though right now, as we speak, we are in the Mercury retrograde period until June 22nd. And the only thing I would say until the Mercury retrograde right now is that whenever you're doing things communication-wise, just make sure that you pay attention to the documents that you're signing. Just pay attention to emails, phone calls, things that, have to do with the communication aspect. You want to just pay close attention to make sure that you're dotting all the I's and that you're crossing all the T's when it comes to the communication sector. And so we just want to keep an eye on that. On June 10th, we will be having our new moon. It will be in Gemini. And when we have the new moon, it's going to be a good time to manifest, to bring things into fruition, things that you want to manifest and create. It's a good time to get the manifestation journals out and begin to write down some of the things that you want to bring into fruition, that you want to manifest. You want to write dates down. You want to start making plans. You want to start really putting together the things that you want to manifest, the things that you want to bring into fruition, and so it is going to be a good time to bring in the levels of abundance, to bring in new levels of health, new levels of wealth, to definitely ascend and go to the next dimension in consciousness, to create an altered state, a different state of mind. Some of us have been, coming out of the pandemic, dealing with the whole fiasco of the pandemic, coming into the year 2021, dealing with the shifting of so many different things that are happening and that are going forth, a new president, a new administrative in the politic world, and so forth. And so all of these different dynamics and different things that are going on, it's always good to make sure that you are sticking to your own plan, that you are creating your own reality, that you're not letting life live you, but you're dictating to life how you want to live. And so, it's very vital that you take control of your life. Don't let life take control of you. And so as we move into this, continue on to the 6th month, we're already halfway through the year. This year is actually flying. If you could have blinked and just imagine it was just January yesterday, and all of a sudden now we're in the 6th month, we're already in the halfway mark of the year. And so what that means to me is that I have another 6 months to get into creating, to get into manifesting, to get into bringing things to fruition and orchestrating and prioritizing my life and putting in perspective, depending on what season I'm in and what it is that I need to manifest and what it is that I am getting into fruition. Now, those of you that are joining this call, one of the things that I am doing, and you will see a lot of this coming in the coming weeks, is I'm really stepping out and really trying to, with the pushing, the constant pushing of Reverend Israel. He's been doing this for many years, and I decided to really take a stand, as you guys are seeing. I've been really pushing these calls, and so while he's gone, what I'm going to be doing, those of you who are part of the Awaken the Light family, I'm going to be doing calls on Sundays and Wednesdays going forward. I will still do the 9 o'clock a.m. calls. So this Sunday we will do a call at 9 a.m. Eastern time. I will still do the Wednesdays calls. But I am kind of stepping out and kind of really to build the Temple of Enlightenment. And so you will really see a lot of things coming in the coming weeks that I'm working on to really expand and grow. And so, you know, I definitely, I do not take it for granted, and I appreciate everybody who's on this call, because I understand that this call, it's really good that you guys are getting out of it what you're getting, because I'm getting your messages about the messages of the teachings and the different things that you are getting from these calls. But, you know, it's also great for me to get your feedback, because it lets me know that I'm in the right place at the right time, really connecting to my destiny as well. And so I'm definitely excited about where we're going to be going. And, you know, I believe that the days ahead of us are going to be far more greater than the days that were behind us. And so I'm looking forward to really moving and transitioning and to really building that. So I want to let all of you know that I definitely appreciate you guys for being on the call and for all your support, and that it does not go, I do not take it for granted, do not take it lightly, but I do appreciate it. And believe me, it's helping me get the message out. We have our YouTube page now. We're going to start running ads, because we want to start getting the word out about these calls. We want to start letting people know that every Sunday and Wednesday they can jump on these calls and be a part of these teachings and get the lesson notes. And really, really, I want to see lives being changed. I want to see people getting from being stuck to getting out of being stuck. For people who feel like they're trapped, who feel like they don't have a way out, I want them to realize that the way out has already been within them. And once you go within, you will find the way out of whatever you're in. And so I believe that we have the ability to create our own reality, and that's what my goal is to give you the keys and the precepts and the golden nuggets and the truths that can help you. But listen to this. I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know, because the universal mind already knows everything. The only thing that I'm doing with these calls is bringing back to remembrance the things that were already in your mind. The things that already were implanted in you, I'm just bringing them back to remembrance, because the divine mind is all-knowing. So we already know all of these things. It is just that I'm bringing us back to the place of remembrance of those things that have already been implanted in us. And so to all of the entrepreneurs that are out there, as we get ready to move into the new moon on June 10th, I want to see you guys start putting your new goals up. As an entrepreneur, what is some of the things that you want to manifest? What are some of the things that you want to bring into fruition? I'm pretty sure that many of us on this call, if you have a business or you're an entrepreneur, everybody on this call would like to have more clients. That's what I would like to do. I would like to have more people on this call than I've ever had before. I'm actually shooting for a number for 100 people. I've shared this with one other person and told them that my goal is just to get 100 people on the call. And so on June 10th, I'm going to be doing my manifestation of how can I get more people on this call, to get this call out so that more people can actually be a part of this call, to get these teachings, these truths. And so any entrepreneur that's on this call tonight, write down some of the things that you want to manifest for your business, for your ministry, for your whatever your gift is, whatever your product is, whatever it is that you are offering, your service. And write down what the new goals are, because as we move into this new dimension and this new moon on June 10th, I believe that this is going to be the time where things are going to get into bloom like never before. And so I'm excited about the future. And I've always said this, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So tonight we're going to be discussing the power of assumption. And you know, when I teach these things, believe it or not, it's almost as if I'm teaching myself, because I'm a lover of the word. I'm a lover of you know, and first I'll do this. I just want to define the word assumption. As you can look on your call notes, those of you that are connected, that receive the links, the call notes, you go in, you put the 0 in, and you're able to download it. Just put your email in, and you're able to download the call notes. You can follow on your digital devices, your iPad or your iPhone or your phones. And then you can also check your email, and you can actually print it out, and where you can write. I'm an old-fashioned person. I still like to write, so I actually have mine printed out, and I take notes and write things down. But the word assumption is a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. I'll read that again. An assumption is a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof, right? Now, I want to go to the scripture, and I know that you guys have the scripture on your call notes, but I like the amplified version of the scripture, and I just want to read this. Romans 12:2. You guys, I believe on the call notes, I have the King James Version, but I'm going to read the amplified version of Romans 12:2. And it says, "Do not be conformed to this world any longer with its superficial values and customs, but be transformed and progressively changed as you mature spiritually by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values and ethical attributes, so that you may prove for yourselves what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect in his plan and purpose for you." I love the way the Amplified breaks that down. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Man's chief delusion of himself, the greatest delusion that man faces, is the conviction that the causes of his own state of consciousness are outside of himself, or because of other people. Oh, you know, it's because of the government. Oh, it's because of this. It's because of the police. It's because of this anti-group. It's because of that anti-group. Man's greatest delusion will always come with his conviction that there are causes other than the state of his own consciousness. Temple of Enlightenment, listen to this. Where you live psychologically determines where you live in the outer world, the visible world. Listen to that. That's so profound. Where you live psychologically determines how you live here in the outer visible world. Where you're living at on the inside is always a reflection of how it looks on the visible outside world. That's why I tell us all the time, we are nothing but walking mirrors. And we have to understand that it's an inside job. Where I live at psychologically, I want you to answer that question tonight. Where do you live psychologically right now? Because it doesn't matter what you have on the outside, but what matters is where you live psychologically on the inside. Because if you can shift and begin to change where you live at psychologically, that's how you begin to change where you live in the visible world. all transformation must begin with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. The first step in renewing your mind is from your desire. Now, the word desire actually means of the Father. And what it means is that your desire is that burning passion that you have, right? The desire, the definition here in your call notes, will tend to show us that when you begin to understand who you are and how you have transcended into what you are, you begin to see things in a whole different perspective. When you begin to understand the first level in renewing the mind has to do with your desire. What are you desiring? Do you have a desire to see your change? Do you have a desire right now, those of you that are listening, where are you living psychologically? Do you have a desire to change where you are living psychologically? Because the only way that I can change how I'm living in the physical world and the visible world is to change where I'm living psychologically. But do you have a desire? Because your desire is what's going to give you the intention or even the consideration that, hey, I want to change and I know that I can change. I got to make this change happen. You can do this by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Some of you right now can say, you know what, I want to get me a house. I want to get a brand new car. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, how would it feel had you already received the house and moved in? How does it feel if you're driving the new car? You're not worrying about how you're going to get it. You're not worrying about how much the mortgage is going to be. You're not worried about even if you're going to have a mortgage or a car note. You're just assuming the feeling of the end of the wish fulfilled, saying that I already got it, I'm living in my house, and I'm driving my car. How does that feel? Can you assume the feeling of how that feels? And then to assume that you are already the person that you want to be. The one thing I love about this life, and I tell people all the time, is that you can be, do, and have anything that you want. But the most important thing to me is to be able to create who I want to be. You can be whoever you want to be. Can you assume that you are already that person? Can you assume the feeling, can you see yourself being, doing, and having, and becoming that person that you already are? Being able to work with the power of the assumption, to begin to work with it, to understand that if I assume that I'm successful and I've already started having the feeling of the wish fulfilled, what does it mean to me to be successful? If I can hold that feeling and already assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it's something about that feeling, watch this, that magnetizes the very things to me and pull them in. So listen, somebody may say, you know what, I've tried all this stuff and I've did the affirmations and I've did the meditations and I can't seem to manifest. I can't seem to pull it in. Well, the one thing I would ask you is, it's the feeling nature that magnetizes it and pulls it in. Because if I'm going to assume that I'm successful, I can look successful. I can put on a suit, tie. I can look successful. I can speak successful. I can say I am successful, and today is going to be one of the most successful days of my life. And I can speak it. But here's the secret. Until I can feel successful, that's when success comes. But guess what? That's why you need to look successful. That's why you need to speak the affirmations of success. Because those two things are going to help you to transition and to assume the feeling of being successful. And once I assume the feeling of being successful, what happens is I start magnetizing the success to me. But watch this. I don't get in my own way of determining how that success is going to come. I'm not going to get in the way and determine how the house is going to come to me or how the car is going to come to me. I'm just going to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Don't get in your own way by determining how it's going to play out. Just assume the feeling and hold that feeling. Whereas you can only know a thing spiritually only by becoming it. I can only know a thing spiritually by becoming it. I have to become it spiritually. Where I live psychologically, where I live spiritually on the inside will determine what happens on the outside. You know, my father used to tell me all the time that when a woman cuts her hair, if you see a woman that has long hair or she cuts her hair or she does a major change to her hair, it's a direct indication that she's going through a major change in her life. And I've asked women who have done that, and they say, yeah, you know, I was kind of going through some things. I was going through so much, and I just went through this whole transformation. And what happens is her cutting her hair was the effect. The cause happened within. She psychologically moved where she was living. She psychologically made the change inwardly, and her cutting her hair was just the effect, was the outcome of it. Because if you change where you live psychologically, it will change your visible world and your physical reality. And so to assume the feeling of a greater life, to assume a new concept of yourself, to say, wait a minute, you know what? I feel like from this day of June 2nd going forth, I just see myself moving in a greater situation in my life, connecting with great people, being with the right people in the right place. I see my businesses growing. I see my clientele growing. I just see every aspect of my life expanding and in good and perfect ways. But assuming the feeling of it is nothing like assuming the feeling of it, because it's something about that feeling that gets the momentum going. And your feeling nature is what magnetizes it and brings it into fruition. Because you can say, well, how are you doing this morning? And you can say, oh, I'm doing great. And they say, well, you look great. And I say, yeah, I'm doing great. But even though I look great and I said I'm doing great, doesn't mean I feel great. But it's something about anybody listening to this call, you ever had a day where things just not going right, but you had it in your consciousness that today was a great day. I look great. I am great because I feel great. And it seemed like no matter what went wrong that day, it wouldn't step down and dampen out your greatness, because you already had the feeling of greatness. And once you had the feeling of greatness, what happened was no matter what the day brought, you was able to overturn that and not let it affect you, because you were standing in your consciousness of greatness. And you said, wait a minute, what ended up happening was the day ended up turning out great. It wasn't that the day turned out great. It was that my consciousness of me walking in greatness was what was creating the day. It was what's setting out the vibrations to magnetize to me what was going on in my feeling nature. The imagination is the instrument by which you create your world. This is the secret of all secrets, is the imagination. Your imagination is the instrument, the means whereby your redemption from being sick, lonely, being in poverty is affected. And if you refuse to assume the responsibility of the incarnation of a new and higher concept of yourself, you must learn to live with what you have. Let me clarify that for you. If you fail to go within, you must learn to live without. Listen, I'll say this again if you want to write it down. If you fail to go within, you must learn to live without. Is there anybody on this call today that said, you know what, I'm in need. I'm in need of some things. There's some things that I need. And I said to myself, well, there's some things that I need, but guess what? I can never be in need as long as I have the ability to go within. And if I have the ability to go within, I will never be in want, because I have the ability to go in. I have the ability to go within. I said to you guys earlier, we're coming up to June 10th, the new moon. What are you going to manifest? I told you guys that I want to manifest 100 people on this call. That's my goal. What I have to do now is assume the feeling of how does it feel to have 100 people listening to you 2 times a week. How does it feel? I have to actually be there psychologically first and work on this thing and get the feeling of it and already act like it's 100 people on here right now as we're speaking. Because the more that I assume the feeling of it, guess what? People start jumping on the call. People start, hey, I was on this call. You need to listen to this brother. He's really powerful. He's teaching some good truths. I really think what he's saying could really help you out. And it starts trickling down. And next thing you know, people start getting on the call. But guess what? The only thing I did was go within and change where I was living psychologically. I needed to move to the place where I said 100 people was going to be on my call. And when I changed the psychological place where I was living, then and only then, by the desire of wanting to do it, I had a desire first. Then after the desire, I had to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that power of the assumption. You know, relationships, those of you who are married or those of you who want to get in a relationship, how would it feel if you had somebody in your life? For the women, if you had a man or whatever you want to reach out to, whatever it is that you need for a partner, and you had your partner, how would it feel to have this person in your life? Because you said that I no longer want to be alone, I want to have somebody in my life. So psychologically, you have to move to that place to where now you are now assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of how does it feel to have a partner in my life. And by holding on to that feeling, by speaking it, by just connecting to it, what happens now is that that person begins to show up. Because guess what? We only meet in this world who we are. We can only attract what we are. We can only attract what we are. So here's the thing also. That's why it's very important that we really look at where we're living at psychologically. Because if I'm living somewhere psychologically that's not good, I'm having negative thoughts, I'm not integral, and I'm living somewhere that's really messed up, I don't really want to start magnetizing and start bringing stuff in, because where I'm living at psychologically is not good right now. So I need to really go in and begin to change financially. Where am I at psychologically in the finances, right? I need to make more money. I'm pretty sure everybody on this call would love to make more money, but it's not about about me making more money. What am I doing with my money? Am I wasting it if I'm spending buying clothes, or I'm spending it on this, or should I be starting investing in stocks? Should I start looking at maybe looking into buying real estate, doing Airbnbs, or maybe doing rental properties, or maybe I should start looking at cryptocurrency and Dogecoin and start looking at Bitcoin, and start looking at all these NFTs and all these different things about what am I looking at. So I have to now change where I live at psychologically in my finances, because if I want my financial structure to change, I have to change where I'm looking at financially, which means that it's not about making more money. It's about what are you doing with the money that you have. Changing your concept of where you live psychologically in the money sector. Because they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and again, expecting a different result. So I have to begin to change where I'm living at psychologically in my finances. So I got to start looking at, how do I feel about money? How do I really connect with money? What is my connotation? What is my connection to money? How do I feel about money? Because how you feel about money and how you look at money and how you receive money and how you understand money begins to change when you move psychologically, where you live at, concerning your finances. And so what happens is you realize that, wait a minute, that I can really shift my financial structure in the visible world by changing where I live at psychologically first. And so I think that this week, as we move into getting ready for the 10th of the new moon, I think that we all should be, myself included, should be very conscious of where we're living at psychologically in every aspect of our lives, whether it's finance, relationships, career, entrepreneurship, and really start looking at where we are living psychologically so that we can make some changes and get ready to move and shift so that we can get that shift in the physical, visible world. The great secret is the controlled imagination, a well-sustained attention firmly and repeatedly focused on an object to be accomplished. What you pay attention to, what you focus on, you bring power to. What you only get out of life what you pay for. I tell people this all the time. You only get out of life what you pay for. What are you paying attention to? So when you start paying attention to the things that you want to manifest as opposed to the things that you don't want, you'll start seeing the change. By assuming that you already have the thing that you want to manifest. You identify yourself with it by the transformation of your mind, the transformation of your mind. Now, one of the also things, the steps of renewing your mind, is definitely visualization, because you have to see yourself doing, being, and having. I got to see myself having 100 people on this call. I see it. So I have to visually see it. I got to have a desire for it. And then I have to turn around and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. How would it feel? And whatever your goal is, you put it out there. So I have a free ebook. Those of you that don't have it, I'll be able to send you the link. It's how to create your own vision board. It talks about how to use vision boards. But in reality, I call vision boards mirror boards, because whatever you put on a vision board is a direct replication or a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Whenever you look at your vision board on the wall, you are looking in a mirror. You're looking in a mirror, because whatever's on that vision board is supposed to be a direct reflection of what's going on inside of you. So whenever you look at your vision board, you're really looking in a mirror. And when you do that and you make that shift, you start saying, wait a minute, I'm not looking at these things on my vision board as something I'm hoping to happen or that I want to happen or that I'm wishing to happen. But when I look at that vision board hanging on my wall, I'm looking in the mirror, because these things are happening. They're already here. It's just a reflection of what's going on inside of me. A determined imagination alone is very good, because what it does is, when you begin to really focus on your life and what you really want to do with your life, and you begin to focus on it, you begin to really start moving into a place where you understand that a sustained attention, firmly and repeatedly focused on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, until it fills your mind and crowds all other ideas out of the consciousness. When you begin to constantly focus on what it is that you are manifesting, what happens is the universe begins to make it happen. Listen, when you think a thought, Your conscious mind takes that thought and gives it to the subconscious mind. When it gives it to the subconscious mind, that's where the subconscious mind makes it happen. But it takes that thought, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and it sets out to make it your physical reality. That's why we have to be very careful, because when we think a thought of I'm in need or I'm in want, I don't have enough, and you're still focusing on the lack, the loss, the limitation, what you're telling the universe is that you're in lack, loss, and limitation, and that's what you want because you're focusing on that. So the universe, in retrospect, continues to give man what he first gives himself. The universe will always give man what he has first given himself. You focused on the lack, the loss, and the limitation, and that's why in your life, in your outer world, that's what you received, because that's what you lived at psychologically. You lived in lack, loss, and limitation, and then you're upset because you don't understand why the lack, loss, and limitation is showing up in your physical world. You have to begin to change where you live psychologically. You got to start focusing on abundance, success, and greatness. And when you start psychologically moving to greatness, success, and abundance, you will start seeing the shift of things happening in the outer world. But now let me tell you this, because this is a lot of, I don't hear a lot of metaphysical teachers and New Thought tell you this. When you start manifesting things and you really go into start what I call the expectation process, and I'm going to do a class on expectation. Expectation is the foundation upon which everything goes. When you start dealing with manifestation and really start assuming the wish fulfilled, a lot of times what you have to realize is that every shift that happens inside is the cause. And what happens on the outer world is the effect. And sometimes when we go through those changes of shifting where we are psychologically, there's going to be some physical altercations. And what I mean by that is that everything in your physical world, the changes that take place, you might not think are beneficial to you. You know, whenever somebody is moving from working a 9-to-5 or moving into doing some other things, and they say, you know what, I want to step into entrepreneurship. You're actually, at that point, you're actually saying to yourself, I'm psychologically moving to the place of entrepreneurship. And because you are going to move there psychologically, that is the cause. The effect in your visible world now is that things will begin to change in your life. But that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. And so the process on the outside may not be going as you thought it should go. There may be a lot of bumps in the road. There may be a lot of setbacks, as we like to call, or call them setbacks, but they're not setbacks. They're not bumps in the road. There are nothing more than stepping stones that are going to help you get to where you need to go. Because, see, when you talk about changing where you live at psychologically, your mind is expanding. Once your mind expands, it can't go back to its original form. So what happens now is you start going through those, what you call setbacks or bumps in the road, and you like to look at them as being negative, but as the Bible says, all things work together for the good of them that love him. And so what that means is that whatever you quote unquote we like to call setbacks or hiccups, those things are created to help you get to the place where you need to be. Because if I'm going to change where I'm at psychologically, this is not an easy change, because I've been living in lack, loss, and limitations for so long. I can't just get up and just change and just expect overnight, because I have to learn how to break my habits. I need to know how to control my thought patterns now, because I can't think negatively anymore. I have to begin to change what I feed myself. When I feed myself intellectually, what books am I reading? What TV shows am I watching? Who am I communicating with? Am I still on the phone with everybody gossiping about who's sleeping with who and who did this and who did this one and what celebrity is with this celebrity? Am I still caught in the gossip of life, or am I so profoundly, consistently working on my own business, I don't really have time to mind anybody else's business? I'm minding my own business. So when you get into understanding that, you get into the shift now where you say, wait a minute, I was telling somebody the other day, I take my hat off to Reverend Israel Malik Estes. I mean, I've only been, doing these calls for just a couple of weeks now, but not just about putting it together. I'm already looking at the end, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And so I'm looking at all the things that I need to do to get to the place where I want to go. And he tells me all the time, it's a lot of work, and it is. And, you can't be discouraged about the hard work. You can't be discouraged about the effort that you have to put in. But that's why your desire is so important. What desires do you have? I tell people all the time, don't try to turn your desires. What desires are you feeling? Because those desires, the word desire actually means of the Father. And when you have that desire, what desire is it that is telling you, that's bringing you in? Some of you will be sitting here and say, you know what, for the last year or so, I've just been having this desire to move. I've been just having a desire. That's not nothing to play lightly about, because you need to hone and harness that desire, because usually a desire is usually what's getting ready to get you into the transformation of things, where it's telling you, listen, we need to relocate psychologically. We're going to move to a different state, but I need to relocate psychologically first, and then begin to see it affect on my outer world. And so you begin to look at things and begin to see things in a different perspective now, because I need to make a shift. I need to be able to make a shift in my life and be able to understand and move in such great regard of everything that's happening. I think that we are in a great place right now where we are able to really make a shift. Now, I want to give you one more important thing. This is, if you don't listen to anything on this call tonight, this is probably the most important thing. What I'm getting ready to share with you has changed my life tremendously. It has expanded my world beyond belief. And I'll just give it to you like this. You must stop spending your thoughts, your time, and your money. Everything in your life must be an investment. I'm going to read that one more time. You must stop spending your thoughts, your time, and your money. Everything in your life must be an investment. Now listen, that right there is the most profound thing, and I hope it's going to change your life as well as it changed mine. From now on, from this day forth, you have to start looking at life differently now. Everything that you do must be an investment. Time is we can't get back. But I understand this, that whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. But here it is also. Nobody on this call wants to waste their time. Nobody wants to waste their energy. Nobody wants to waste their money. But when you start looking at everything as an investment, it begins to shift now. Because now you're looking at this and saying, listen, I have to be real critical and calculated about what I do in my life now. So now we're prioritizing. Now we're putting things in perspective. Now we're saying I have to be careful of what I invest my time into, what I invest my money into, because we understand and we know that I don't want to spend my life or waste my life on something that is not going to pay back dividends or not going to benefit me in the long run. Everything about me is now an investment. So I'm paying attention to where I'm living psychologically. I'm focused on making the change, because I know that when I make that change, the time, the money, and my life, my thoughts, everything about me that I'm putting in to focus on where I'm living at psychologically is an investment for me, because it's going to help me shift and be in the place where I need to be in the physical, visible world. So everything that you do thus far, you must look at it as an investment. It must be an investment. And what happens now is that it changes your dynamic now because you start looking at things differently now. Your consciousness will shift in a major way because a lot of things that you used to do just to do, you don't do them no more because they weren't beneficial to you. They weren't an investment. You were actually wasting time, energy, and effort doing those things, but in the long run, they weren't a great investment. And so you begin to look at life differently as you begin to move into this new paradigm, this new shift that we're moving into. We must understand the power of assumption. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To be able to move where we live at psychologically. To begin to look at my finances, look at my relationships. Those of you who are married, and you may say, you know what, my marriage is okay, but I think it could be so much better. I think everybody on this call could agree we all have room for improvement. Nobody here is the be-all, perfect, all-do. Everybody has the room for improvement. But guess what? The only way that we can improve is by changing where we live at psychologically. So now, guess what? Somebody in a relationship or marriage will say, well, yeah, that's true, but how could I get him to or her to move with me psychologically? You don't. The only person that you need to worry about is you. Because guess what? When you move psychologically and you relocate, in order for him to connect with you, he has to shift his consciousness because he won't be able to relate to you on the level that he once were because you're not there anymore. You have moved psychologically, which means that not only did you move psychologically, but there was a shift in the physical, visible world. So you don't have to force him to do anything. You don't have to worry about him because in order for him to connect to you and to be able to respond and communicate with you, he has to move himself psychologically because you made the shift. And so in each of our lives, as we look at going into these coming weeks and we get ready to focus on what it is that we want to manifest, we're getting ready for June 10th, and we're looking at some things. As a matter of fact, I need to find out the date. Let me see when June 10th is. June 10th is a Thursday. I was thinking that maybe we could have did a call. You know what I might do? If you guys want to do this, you just reach out to me and let me know. I may want to do like an open Zoom call where we can see each other and we can do like a manifestation thing. Of course, anybody who's interested, if you want to do it on Thursday, June 10th of the new moon, and we can get together. It won't have to be a call. It could be a Zoom where we can see each other and we can actually just all jump on and have like a little group chat where we can all talk and share about different things we're doing, and I'll be able to give you guys some insight on some different things that you want to do. So if you're interested in doing that, because I'm still going to do the call on that Wednesday, which is the 9th, but on that Thursday, which is the new moon, which is the 10th, if you guys want to do that, I think that would be awesome if we can all get together on a Zoom call and just, and with the Zoom now the way it has it, you can do Zoom from your phone. So you don't necessarily have to be at your computers. You can actually be on your phone, but we can jump on a Zoom call and let's get some things going here. Let's really see what we can manifest and put together. I'm really excited about what's going on. And I believe that when we get ready to move into this next dimension that we're in, and we begin to move psychologically, I think that things will begin to change in our lives. And so I'm starting to see it now. Even as I've been doing these calls, a lot of things in my life has switched. It's just I find myself being really engulfed in this, and it's really believe me, these calls are really blessing me just as much as they're blessing you, because it's almost like I'm talking to myself as well. And so I'm just excited about the future. I'm excited about what we are manifesting. And what I want you to do is on the second page of the call notes, just the second page that has the lines, I want you to start writing down where you are living psychologically now. Because this is one of the things that we have to be able to identify where we are. You know, a lot of times we don't want to do that because it makes us angry and upset because we feel like we're not where we want to be. But in order to go where you need to go or where you want to go, you have to be able to pinpoint and identify where you are right now. So if I'm going to identify where I'm living at psychologically, and I want to begin to move into where I am, I need to know where I am. I have to create a map. I have to create a plan, but I got to know where I'm at. So where are you living psychologically now, and where would you like to see yourself moving to, or where you're going to move to psychologically, because you're going to make that shift. Now, once you make that shift and you start changing where you live at psychologically, things will begin to happen. Things will begin to change. And I want to hear your testimonials. I want to hear the things that are unfolding. So, you know, I think that we might, if you guys want to do that, if those of you who are listening to this call, if you want to get together and on the new moon, we do a Zoom call where we all can talk and share and, you know, and really get into a group discussion where we all can talk amongst ourselves. I would love to have that. If you guys want to do that, I can set up the Zoom and just send everybody the links, and we can, you know, whoever wants to get on the links, and we can get on there and just talk. And I think that it's going to be a great call, because I think that with all of us being of like-mindedness, of all of us being connected in the divine mind and being able to connect ourselves in a spiritual connection, I think that we all need to pour into each other. I think that we all, and as we get ready to manifest whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's your entrepreneurship, your family, your business, your job, you want to manifest a partner, you want to manifest whatever it is that you want to manifest, I think that by us connecting with each other, I think it's going to be very profound. And I think it's something that we probably can do maybe once a month or so forth, and just build it, you know, because it's always great to be in the company of like-mindedness. And so if that's something that you guys would like to do, just reach out to me, especially all of you who you can reach out to me on Instagram. We at TOE Spiritual Center. We're on Facebook at Temple of Enlightenment. We are on LinkedIn, Temple of Enlightenment, or I'm also on LinkedIn as Issachar Bey. You can also reach out to me by messenger. You know, those of you that receive my personal messages and stuff, you can reach out to me and let me know how you feel and what you think about that. But I want you to write down where you are living psychologically, and I want you to also write where you are moving to psychologically. And the reason why I want you to write down I am living somewhere psychologically is because I want you to understand that in order to change your physical world, it's going to have to start with you changing where you live at psychologically. And when you begin to make that change and identify where you are and where you're moving to, you'll begin to see, like, wait a minute, wow, this really works. I can see the shift. I can see things really moving and operating in different ways. Listen, we must always remember this going forward, that everything we do has to be an investment. It has to be an investment. And some people may say, well, that's not really a good way to look at it, but it has to be, because just imagine, I don't know anybody on this call, but I can definitely say this for myself. When you look back over your life and you look at how much time was wasted, how much money was wasted, how much energy was wasted on things that I knew wasn't beneficial to me, on things that I knew wasn't going to give me anything good or help me to enhance my life or to put me in a better position, they always say when you know better, you do better. So to now shift my consciousness to say, well, you know, if I'm going to put my time, energy, and effort in this, you know, I have to look at it as an investment. You know, when you start studying the rich and the wealthy, that's how they move and they operate. You know, they say, well, you know what, I really want to talk to him, you know, because we need funding for the business, and, you know, and I know he has the ability to help me. And the first thing they say was, you know, well, how is it going to benefit him? You know, because he's not going to really talk to you unless he knows that this is going to benefit him in some kind of way. Same thing. People are going to start looking at it like, oh, man, I can't really talk to her because I got to figure out, because I know that everything she does is calculated, has to be an investment. It has to be something that's going to better her. But listen to this. I looked at it from a different perspective, because if you start operating in that consciousness of everything that I do must be an investment, what you're actually doing is you're bettering yourself, because no longer are you just connected with people, just connect with them. No longer are you just doing things just to be doing them, but you're doing things that you're saying to yourself, I want a better me. And in order to get a better me, I got to be better me. And by being better me, I got to start doing things that's going to benefit me, and I have to take on this level of consciousness that everything I do going thus far must be an investment. It got to be an investment. Your husband comes and says, hey, I think we should do this tonight. Be like, hey, honey, I understand what you're saying. I love you, my husband, but I have to tell you that I don't really see that being a benefit. Everything we must do has to be an investment. I have to be able to willing that if I'm going to spend my time, effort, energy, and money on this thing, that in some kind of way it's going to benefit me. It doesn't have to benefit me financially, but how is it going to expand me in consciousness? How is it going to expand my livelihood? How is it going to put me in a better place or enhance what I'm already doing? And if it can't do those things, then I can't go with the notion of putting my time, energy, and effort into this. I can't do that. So I think that we're in a place now where when we understand the controlled imagination, being able to understand the focus of me focusing on what it is that I want to manifest. Where your attention goes, the power flows. I'll say that again. Where your attention goes, the power flows. You only get out of life what you pay for. What are you paying for? You pay your attention to it. You pay your attention to it. Say, oh man, you know what? Oh man, I know you was talking about getting a new house, and you was talking about this and that, and all of a sudden you got it. And it seems like they don't realize you already paid for it. You paid your attention to it. While they were contemplating this and that, you already had moved psychologically to the new house already. You already had the new house and was already living in it psychologically. So by you living in the new house psychologically, it was only a matter of time before it became a physical reality. And so you understood that by me moving psychologically, that was an investment, because I understood that the psychological move was a cause. It was my investment. And I knew that the payoff would be it coming out in my physical reality, which was going to enhance me and move me further along in life, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I want to live in a world that's of balance. I don't want to be so heavenly minded that I'm no earthly good. I don't want to be so earthly minded that I'm no heavenly good. I want the balance. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So I want that balance in my life. And so tonight I wanted to give you an opportunity to join in our circulation. What do you mean circulation? Well, it's our circulation time. And what I mean by circulating is we don't spend money, we circulate it. And whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. We talk about the power of assumption. We talk about relocating and moving to the renewing of our minds. Now, it's funny how the Bible says that the only way that you can transform your life is by the renewing of your mind. It didn't say putting on new clothes. It didn't say relocating to another place. So the only way that I can transform my life is by the renewing of my mind. The renewing is the shift. It's a change. So tonight, I want to ask all of you that are listening on this call to do the Renewing Mind Feed, which is $18.23. Say, why would you say $18.23? Because when you add the number 18 plus the number 23, it comes out to 5. 5 is the number of change. It is the number of shift. It's a dynamic number. It is the number that will cause you to make that shift to relocate psychologically. And so tonight we're asking you to join in with us in the circulation of $18.23. The number 5 also allows us, always remember this if you want to write this down, whenever you see the number 5, always remember that the number 5 has to do with mastering the 5 senses. Because if I'm going to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, I have to be able to master the 5 senses, because while I'm assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, in the physical world, it hasn't shown up yet. So if I don't master my 5 senses will tell me, you don't have the house, you don't have the money, you're not going to get approved for the loan, you don't have the car, they're not going to give you the car with that credit score, you're not going to be able to do this because you don't have a good credit score, you got this on your credit, you got that, you got this. All of those things will come into effect through the 5 senses. But if I learn how to master those 5 senses, the number 5, I can now master them and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. $18.23 is the mind transformation seed for tonight. Circulation, why? We don't spend money, we circulate it. Listen, I want you to take this with you. From now on, whenever you go out and you go to the store and they say, well, how much money did you spend? Oh, I didn't spend anything. I don't spend money. Well, like, what do you mean you don't spend money? No, I don't spend money. I circulate it. So every time I release money out of my hand, it circulates back to me 100-fold. Here again is everything I do is an investment. Even my finances, when I go to spend money on groceries, when I spend money on paying bills, I'm not spending money, I'm circulating it, because as I release it, it's going to come back to me 100-fold. In the word spend is the word end, E-N-D. Whenever you spend money, you end money. We don't end money, we're going to circulate money so that money comes back to us. Don't just come back, it comes back 100-fold. Every time you spend money going forth, I don't care if you're spending it on a bill, I don't care if you're circulating your money on the bill, if you're circulating money on your rent, your mortgage, your car note, your insurance, every time you release funds out of your hands, I want you to say, and it will return 100-fold. Because it's circulating. I'm circulating my money. This is nothing but circulation. That which I release will always come back to me in 100-fold. And it's not just in finances, it's in everything. My time. When I take the time to do something and to help somebody and to put time into some things, I'm saying my time is very valuable. But this time is going to come back to me 100-fold return. Those of you tonight said, listen, I took the time out for 1 hour to get on this call. Your time is not taken for granted. But as you end this call, I want you to say, for the time that I took this 1 hour and listen to this call, hopefully you got some good precepts and concepts and golden nuggets, but at the same time, you will return and receive the circulation of that time 100-fold return. And so I want to thank you, those of you that are listening. You can reach out to us on PayPal, which is going to be Issachar Bey, ISSACHARBEY @gmail.com, We're on VENMO, which is going to be the @ Issachar-Bey. And then we are on ZELLE. We're on ZELLE, again, at issacharbey @gmail.com. I'm getting everything situated right now so we can get the Cash App, because a lot of you have been asking about Cash App. We will have that up very shortly, hopefully by next week. So once again, I thank you for your circulation, because your circulation helps us to get things out. We're getting ready to start running some Facebook and the Instagram ads so that we can start expanding and getting more people on the call and getting the word out and building our organization and building our brand so that we can get the word out to help more people to be able to create their own life and create their own reality, but at the same time learn the importance of relocating psychologically in order to relocate and change their lives on a physical, visible level. And so tonight I want to thank all of you for being a part of our call tonight. And I'm just so excited that you guys could be a part of this call. And like I said, we are extremely excited. And so one of the things I wanted to do here is just read these affirmations. It says, I dwell in a sea of abundance. I see clearly my inexhaustible supply. I see clearly just what to do. The tide of destiny has turned and everything comes my way. The tide of destiny has turned tonight. I see everything coming my way. Everything that I need, everything I desired, everything that I've always wanted to manifest, that tide of destiny has shifted tonight and it's coming your way. Just make sure that you are in the right place at the right time to receive that and to manifest it and to bring it forth. So as we get ready to leave tonight, once again, I just want to remind you, if you guys want to do that special call on the new moon, which is Thursday, June 10th, where we can all get on and talk to each other and really have a good time about what we want to manifest and how we're going to do it, that would be good. Just let me know through Facebook Messenger or reach out to me through email. You can email me at issacharbey@gmail.com. Also, once again, we're going to be doing our calls on Sundays and Wednesdays. So every Wednesday we'll be doing 9 o'clock Eastern. On Sundays we'll be doing 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. So I'm looking forward to you guys being on the call. And once again, I like to say this one thing before we end. Your destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. And so it is. Thank you and good night.